It's Good morning, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for all for joining today for our new series of these webinars, what we are calling as the research workshop series. So this is going to be our first APPNA YPC research workshop this year. And what we'll try to do is continue this theme and kind of guide you guys through from the very beginning up to the very end and whatever. Obviously, these workshops are just to kind of get you a little bit of know-how. These are not going to be something that's okay, now you can just, we're not going to basically spoon feed you, but kind of at least guide you through what are the steps and how can you, do several things, and publish and then so on and so forth. But we do hope that these are going to be extremely helpful. And if you pay attention to these and now later on, go through the recordings and all that, I am pretty certain that you guys should be able to work on your own and build your own team. So that's kind of the thought process behind these workshops. As you guys would know that now with the RRC, pretty much every candidate have 3 to 5 and maybe 10 publications these days. So that's also something that the programs will see. So that's kind of the new norm now. So that's what we have to all to do. So we'll get started today. Later on, Amir and Usman will kind of explain what are we going to do with this, research workshop series. But basically, our aim would be for now, we have scheduled 3 workshop series, and we'll see what the response is. And we would like to know, especially from the audience, that if you guys think that these are helpful, then we'll continue. Because without any results, without any actual results, there's no way, there's no reason to continue. So if you guys feel that yes, this is helpful and this is working out, we'll move on. Then we will schedule those more frequently and then kind of go towards the next steps. So your feedback is going to be extremely important. So you can write it down on our Facebook group, or you can just text to us and something, whatever feedback you can give. So we'll start with our very brief panelist today. I have Amir Saeed. He's a PGY3. He was a PGY3 at Vanderbilt University, and now he's started he's going to start his GI fellowship, mashallah, at University of Tennessee. Congratulations, Amir. And Amir is also our member of our YPC team. And then we have Usman Akbar. Usman is, internal medicine resident at Camden Clark Medical Center in West Virginia, and he's also in one of our YPC team. Munis Raza, you all would know Munis Raza. He is co-chair of APPNA YPC. Also, he'll be moderating this session later on. But most of the times, I think we won't need any moderation. So today, mostly it's going to be Amir who's going to be, presenting his initial, the first session, how to do the meta-analysis. So he's just going to talk briefly about it, and then later on, you guys can post the questions in the chat, or just raise your hands and you guys can ask the questions. So thank you, Amir. So now over to you, and good luck.
Thank you, Sadiq. Thank you very much. Good morning. Introduction to हो गया सदीक भाई ने कर दिया. Thank you. Can everybody see my presentation?
Yes, we
Yes.
can see.
So basically the plan is to divide the whole meta-analysis workshop into 3 sessions. So first session will be a brief introduction about systematic review and meta-analysis. And in this first session, we will do some like how to find out the topic and what are the basic PRISMA checklist, and how to formulate a questions and how to do a search strategy, because when you publish a systematic and meta-analysis you have to follow different guidelines. There's a prisma checklist, so you have to follow each step and each guideline. So that's why we divided whole session and whole workshop into three different sessions. And later on, once we will complete this systematic review and meta-analysis workshop, we will do another workshop on databases like TriNetX and CGC database. So this is my first ever workshop on systematic review meta-analysis. I learned a lot. I attended multiple workshops, so you can stop me anytime between the presentation. So the learning
Uh,
object, but
Amir, sorry to cut you. Can you make your presentation, full screen? So it's gonna be, yeah, perfect. Thank you.
so the learning objective for this whole workshop is introduction to meta-analysis, PICO table formulation, search strategy on databases like mesh terms, keywords, screening, full text review, intro to different tools for screening like Covidence, EndNote, Zotero. So then next will be data extraction, Excel sheet, analysis on different tools, like we will teach you how to do analysis on CMA, Ravman, and then the main part is the full length manuscript parts, because full length publication is not easy. So there are different parts of writing a manuscript and submitting to a different journal. So we will also teach writing, quality assessment, risk of bias assessment, publication bias, heterogeneity, subgroup analysis, and certainty of evidence. So there are different parts of submitting a full-length manuscript of meta-analysis. So with these three different sessions, so we will cover everything. And at the end, we will also guide and mentor like how to find a suitable journal for our paper. So this will be our learning objective for whole workshop. So first session, introduction to meta-analysis, PICO tables, search strategy, databases, inclusion and exclusion criteria. So brief intro about meta-analysis. Everybody is aware what is meta-analysis, a statistical method. You can pull data from different retrospective, prospective studies or randomized controlled trial, and then you can make effective size evidence, which can be used for to reduce the bias in different studies, to inform guidelines, support clinical decisions. What is systematic review and meta-analysis? Systematic review means you have to follow different guidelines to make a meta-analysis. So systematic review plus meta-analysis. So question formulation. So I used to get a lot of questions from my friends like how to find out the topic for meta-analysis. If you're a medical student, you need some mentorship. If you're a resident, you can easily find topics on different websites and different journals. So the best way is to stay up to date with different journals, like top-notch journals. If you are interested in cardiology, you can follow cardiology journal. If you're interested in GI, you can follow GI journals. So I was interested in GI, so I used to follow all the GI journals to find out the new recently published like retrospective studies, prospective studies, new guidelines, new innovation, new intervention, new medication. So I used to see all the current issues. Like there's some journals they usually weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. So I used to follow all those current issues, the current publications, and then I used to find out the same topic from different databases. Like suppose this is the topic, like this is a retrospective studies or a meta, or suppose randomized control trial means like addition of PPI with dual antiplatelet therapy can prevent upper GI bleed in patients with recent PCI ACS. So this is my question. So I saw a recently published a randomized control trial on New England Journal of Medicine, and I read the whole article, and then I searched on PubMed, Embase, and different databases if there is any previous meta-analysis on this topic. So there were a lot of previous meta-analysis on this topic on retrospective studies and prospective studies, but there was no meta-analysis on randomized control trial. That's why we did a meta-analysis on randomized control trial, and we were able to publish in American Journal of Therapeutics. So this paper is already published in American Journal of Therapeutics. So question formulation is there are two different kinds of meta-analysis. You can use single arm meta-analysis. You can do comparative meta-analysis. Comparative meta-analysis means you can compare two medications. You can compare two interventions. And single arm meta-analysis means you have to pool the data of efficacy of any medication or safety or efficacy of any intervention or any procedure. So this meta-analysis PPI addition to like any patients who had a recent PCI acute coronary syndrome, they should be on dual antiplatelet therapy. But addition, so we wanted to check if we can discharge the patients on dual antiplatelet therapy in addition to PPI like proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole, pantoprazole, and we wanted to see if this PPI in addition to dual antiplatelet therapy can prevent upper GI bleed. So that's why we did a meta-analysis, and so we wanted to see upper GI bleed cases, major cardiovascular effects means if additional medication to DAPT can have any drug-to-drug interaction, and can prevent the function of aspirin or clopidogrel like dual antiplatelet therapy. So we checked everything, and mortality means if additional PPI with DAPT can increase the mortality. The second topic is TC hemostatic. TC25 is a hemostatic powder we usually do in upper GI bleed. It's a recently new medications, and the gastroenterologists they usually use during the endoscopy to prevent the upper GI bleed. The standard endoscopic treatments for to stop the upper GI bleeding were like epinephrine injection, clipping, but recently this new hemostatic powder was introduced, so we wanted to compare like what's the benefit of hemostatic powder over endoscopic treatment, like cost effective, like rebleeding, mortality, and length of hospital stay. So you can find out these questions or topic from different journals. Suppose if there is any recently published study on any GI journal, like they are comparing these two interventions, and you can check on different databases if there is any previous meta-analysis is done, like on. So the meta-analysis I explained earlier, meta-analysis can be done on retrospective studies, prospective studies, or randomized control trial. If the previous meta-analysis is done on retrospective, like observational studies, you can do a meta-analysis on randomized control trial, which is a high quality evidence for any guidelines. So we checked that there was a previous meta-analysis on observational studies, but there was no meta-analysis on randomized control trial. So we did on meta-analysis on RCTs, and we were able to publish this paper too in Digestive Disease, and Science is one of the best GI journal. So PICO table formulation is P stands for population, intervention, C for comparison, and O for outcomes. So any question, any study, we need to find out like what kind of population we are looking for. So in this topic, like PPI addition to dual antiplatelet therapy can prevent upper GI bleed in recent PCI ACS. So our population was patients with recent acute coronary syndrome and PCI. An intervention like patients already on DAB, because any patient with ACS or PCS should be on DAB. So our new intervention, we wanted to add PPI with DAB therapy, and comparison group was no PPI, like alone, DAPT alone, or DAPT with plus placebo, DAPT with antihistamine receptor blockers. And outcomes, we were look the question. Outcome means question. What is our question? So our question was upper GI bleed cases, major cardiovascular event, mean drug interaction, and mortality. If this PPI in addition to DAPT can prevent mortality or increases mortality or decreases mortality, increases cardiovascular event or decreases cardiovascular events, is there is any role to decrease upper GI bleed cases. Second thing is any meta-analysis, systematic review and meta-analysis, you have to have inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria. So inclusion criteria, because we wanted to explain everything, all we wanted to make sure we are following all the checklist in any meta and a systematic review meta-analysis. Submitting to any GI conference as an abstract is totally different, but when you submit as a full-length publication, like full-length paper or manuscript to different journal, you have to follow all the guidelines. You have to follow all the checklist before submitting your paper. You have to explain your inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria. You have to follow the Prisma guideline. That's why you need to have inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria. Basically, this is a question to do a meta-analysis. So inclusion criteria, we all are looking for adult patient like age greater than 65 years, patients with recent ACS and PCI, and also we are looking for randomized control trial because this meta-analysis was done on randomized control trial, and there was a previous meta-analysis on observational studies, so we will not include observational studies. We will only include randomized control trial. And in exclusion criteria, we will explain like we don't need observational studies like retrospective studies, case reports. We don't need review articles. We don't need literature review, case report, case series, and we don't need retrospective studies or prospective studies because we are doing meta-analysis only on randomized control trials. So randomized control trial will be our RCTs will be our inclusion criteria, and we can always I will show you when I will do search strategy. Sometimes you will see on databases there is a different language like Japanese, Chinese. So when we will initially is wise to do no restriction on language, like you have to include any Chinese, Japanese, English, like any there should be no restriction on any language. So I will show you how to do a search strategy. So such strategy includes match terms, keywords, and four major. I usually do like four major databases like PubMed, Embase, Web of Science, Core Collection, and Cochrane databases for systematic review. These are the four major databases so we can search and we can find out different citations relevant to our questions. So this is our search strategy which I made before submitting my paper which was published on American Journal of Therapeutics, but we will go through the whole search strategy when I will show you later. So this is search strategy on PubMed, this is search strategy on Web of Science database, this is search strategy on Embase. So let me show you how we can do search strategy. So let's show you the PICO table. So this is our PICO table, patients with recent ACS and PCI, intervention, comparison group, outcomes. So let's do. मुनीष भाई इसको restrict कैसे करना है? I'm not good with technology.
Sorry, how to I'm not sure. Like,
I wanna go out of the presentation.
okay, so I'm really not good as well. I'm actually.
Okay, found it.
Usman is there.
I found it. So
You found you got.
can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So go to PubMed, click on PubMed. As you can see below, there's a mesh databases. So click on mesh databases. So we can type the different mesh terms here on this search area. So let me open my presentation. So uh, yeah. So our population was patients with PCI, percutaneous intervention, or acute coronary syndrome. So we can type PCI. Let's see if there is anything on percutaneous coronary intervention. So there is acute coronary syndrome. You can click here, and these are the different mesh terms. So the basic rule with search strategy is to make your search strategy wide. You include maximum studies, maximum citations, so you cannot miss any study, because for abstract for conference is a different, but when you will submit for full length publications, the reviewers they usually check everything, all the details in your supplementary file. That's why you don't want to miss any study with meta-analysis, because if you will miss any study, it will create bias in your results and it will create bias in your evidence. That's why you have to create a wide search strategy. So include maximum citations, so you don't want to miss any study with your search strategy. So I usually do like blood, chemical induced classification, complications, diagnosis, diagnostic imaging, drug therapy. You can include metabolism, mortality. We need mortality. We need pathophysiology. We need pathology. We need surgery. We need therapy. And then when you will select all these, you can add to search builder. So it will create our whole. So the best thing about PubMed is you can create mesh terms here. So I created the mesh term for my acute coronary syndrome patients. So I click here, Control A, select all, copy, and then you can paste. Let me. So our first term was acute coronary syndrome. I will paste my all mesh terms here. And the next thing is the keywords. So these were the mesh terms. Second thing is keywords. So these are the entry terms or the keywords. You can just copy paste all the keywords. Copy paste here. Okay. So second thing is if you're doing a one thing like on one, so this acute coronary syndrome was our patient population. This is a one arm. So if you are doing such strategy on one arm, you have to connect with the OR. Like you can see like OR. I will connect all the keywords and the mesh terms with ORs. Second thing is if you're not able to find, like suppose our next term was percutaneous coronary intervention. So second, you see the percutaneous intervention. You can also find the same mesh terms like classification, mortality, trends, and make sure you are cleaning this. Control all, delete these previous mesh term, add to search builder. So now I have a mesh terms for PCI, percutaneous coronary intervention. Control A, control copy, and then you can paste here. And now you can.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you please increase like zoom in the screen? One of the participants, I think they're facing difficulty in reading the thing. You can control plus sign to increase the zoom depth of the screen in the Chrome.
In the Chrome?
Yeah. Top right, if you go on the top right.
Where?
Three dots on that, on the top
Which one?
right.
Top right?
Three dots, the top right, where there's a close, like, the button, where there's your name signed in on the Chrome.
Oh, here.
Yeah. Click it. Yeah. I think there is a zoom or something there. Yeah, zoom. Just increase it depth of it.
What do you want me to do? Zoom?
Yeah. So they can see. I think they are not able to see the screen. Yeah. Now it's better.
It's better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you, Usman.
No problem.
So these are the mesh term for PCI, control all, copy, we already did, paste here. And the next step is the entry terms or the key terms. So copy paste all the key terms here, and then you can connect all the key terms. Same thing, if you are staying within one arm, so this is our population, we are in the one arm. So when in one arm, you have to connect all the mesh terms and keywords with OR. This is whole arm for our patient population like P in PICO table, PCI and acute coronary syndrome. Next thing was intervention, and intervention was PPI and DAB. So we can go to PubMed, we can clear this one and type proton pump. The proton pump inhibitors, we will create the same mesh terms. Just for detail, I'm selecting few. So clean this area, add to builder. These are the mesh term for PPI. Roughly. We will do the same thing because we are in the single arm. So we will connect all the keywords and the mesh term with OR and make sure it's capital. Next is, so sometimes you can widen this search strategy for PPI. Like I'm familiar with the different kinds of PPI, so I can add like omeprazole. Omeprazole, pantoprazole, lansoprazole. So you can widen your search by adding different kinds of PPI. The second thing is dual antiplatelet therapy. So we'll do the same thing for DAPT, like that if so there's nothing for DAPT. So if you're not able to find a mesh term for any word, like for dual antiplatelet therapy, you can just type and connect. So let me connect like DAPT. You can add dual antiplatelet therapy. You can connect like aspirin. You can connect with clopidogrel. You can connect. What's the other one? Integral. Forgot the name. So you can connect the different kinds. You can add the keywords for different kind of dual antiplatelet therapies. It can be aspirin. It can be Plavix, clopidogrel. It can be ticagrelor. So you can add as a key term. So we have a keywords and mesh terms for acute coronary syndrome. We have a keywords and mesh terms for PPI, which is our PPI plus DAD, which is our intervention. And second thing was control group and outcome. So we are looking for upper GI bleed, right? So for upper GI bleed, so we'll type here gastro and this. So there is nothing for upper GI bleed. The mesh term for GI bleed is gastrointestinal hemorrhage. So for gastrointestinal hemorrhage, we will do the same thing. You can select diagnostic imaging, metabolism, mortality, pathophysiology, surgery, therapy. Then you can add to search builder. And these are the key terms for GI bleed, gastrointestinal hemorrhage. So we can add upper GI bleed here. And you can copy the keywords. And same thing, we are in one arm of upper GI bleed, so we will connect with the OR. So Gastrointestinal hemorrhage, it covers everything. Upper GI bleed, lower GI bleed. You can add like upper GI, the keywords of upper gastrointestinal bleeding, or you can type upper GI bleed. So you can add as much as you can add keywords to make sure you are widening your search strategy. So you can add all the citations, so you don't want to miss any study in your meta-analysis. So now for as per PICO table, so we have our patient population, which is patient with acute coronary syndrome and PCI, patients with PPI and dual antiplatelet therapy, patients with upper GI bleed. So we covered the PICO table. Now we will connect the whole search strategy as a single strategy for our PubMed. So we'll go to the PubMed. You can search here, like search PubMed. So go to advanced, and you can see here. So we can delete this one. And now you can just copy your all mesh term. See, acute coronary syndrome. Copy here, paste, add. And then either you can search here or either you can add to search history. So we added to search history, and this is for our one arm acute coronary syndrome and PCI. And I will do the same thing for PPI and DAPT. Add to history. So sometimes it will say the following terms were not found in PubMed, like omeprazole, maybe the spelling issues, lansoprazole, and all. These are the spelling issues. So you can correct the spellings and you can add again. So make sure. So let me see what the spell for omeprazole. So if I will remove the whole thing, just delete this one. So delete this one. Copy. Add to history. So now you can see there's no issue with any keywords and any terms. And we will do the same thing for our third arm, which is upper GI bleed. Copy, add here in the query, and add to history. So the quoted phrase not found in the index, like gastrointestinal hemorrhage and cerebrospinal fluid. So we need to make sure we are doing the same search strategy. So this term was not found in PubMed. So either we can remove this one. So we'll go back to GI bleed, and which one is missing? Cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid. So this is cerebrospinal fluid one. So we removed cerebrospinal fluid mesh term because it was not found in the PubMed. So we'll do the same thing in here. Delete previous one. Add, add to history. So now we have three arms. So if you're connecting keywords and mesh terms in one arm, you have to connect with the OR. But if you're connecting three different arms together, then you have to connect with and, like add query, we added this one. Second one, add query with and, not with or. For or, these are the Boolean terms, and if you are connecting the keywords and mesh term within a single arm, then you have to connect with or. If you are connecting all three arms together, then you have to connect with and. So we will do the same thing with this thing. And then you can add to history. So now we have a whole search strategy, and there are 246 citations on PubMed related to our whole question as per our whole search strategy. So we will copy this search strategy because you need this search strategy for submission in supplementary file for full length publication. When you will do full length publication, you have to submit your search strategy. So this is search strategy for PubMed, and you have to submit this whole search strategy for all databases to the journals when you will submit as a full length publication. So this is our whole search strategy for PubMed databases. So okay. So now we have 246 citations, and in next steps we will, in this is the whole, this session is only for search strategy. So I will focus on search strategy, and next session we will teach how to download different, like two for these total 246 citations into different software like EndNote. How can we add into Covidence or Zotero? These are the different softwares we can download citations from different databases directly to the software. So in our next session, we will teach like how to download these citations into different software. So this is our whole search strategy for one database, like for PubMed only. So next we can do the search strategy for like Web of Science, Web of Science core collection. So Web of Science core collections, you need access, so you can get access through your program. So I have access through my program, so I can log in. So when you will log in into the Web of Science, you need to make sure we are not searching in all databases. We are searching only in the Web of Science core collection. You can see it here, like Web of Science core collection. You can go to the advanced search because it's advanced search. So in Web of Science, the search strategy and how to type keywords, there are different ways. So they have explained here, like below, like you can just type TS and add the topic. You can just type TI and add the title. So we will do TS plus equal to topic. So let me show you how we can do search strategy on Web of Science. I will type top TS and then the topic. So topic was, so there are no mesh terms on Web of Science. So we will only do keywords on Web of Science. We can make new keywords and we can take the same keywords from PubMed. So I usually take the same keywords from PubMed. So we have a key, so these are the keywords from PubMed. So I will take the same keywords from PubMed. So I will search here. So you need to type TS equal and then paste your keywords. So search, and you can see in your, so when you will type your keyword, you can go back in advanced search and you can see different citations. So there are 60,000, like 77 citations for one keyword, acute coronary syndrome. So I will do the same thing for all the keywords, acute coronary syndrome. We will remove acute coronary syndrome. And the next word was coronary syndrome. We already did. So we can do percutaneous coronary intervention here. Let's type percutaneous. So this is the second keyword for PCI, percutaneous coronary intervention. We can also add a different relatable quick keywords from. The good thing about Web of Science databases, when you type one keyword or any patient population, like what disease are we looking for, it will give you some quick and keywords. So you can add these keywords, like just click here, chronic total occlusion. No, we don't need it. Primary percutaneous, we need primary coronary artery disease. Yes, we can take coronary artery disease, percutaneous coronary intervention, acute coronary syndrome. So we can add different quick keywords from the Web of Science databases. So just click here when you will search. So you can see the citations by going back to advanced search, and you can see like for acute coronary syndrome, we have 60,000 citations. For PCI, we have 72,000 citations. And for PCI plus different keywords from Web of Science, we have like 250,000 key citation. So when we are in the, I told you earlier, like in PubMed, when you are in the single arm, connect. This is the good thing about Web of Science. So you can connect all the keywords combine sets with OR. When you are in the single arm, just connect all the keywords through OR. So we already connected. So these are the different citations for one arm as per PICO, our patient population, like PCI and acute coronary syndrome. And we will do the same thing for our other term. Second term was PPI and dual antiplatelet therapy. So we can go back and search here, remove percutaneous intervention, TS, we can add proton pump inhibitors. So still proton. So go back to advanced search. So because there was a spelling issue, we can remove these two because as you see, if you type wrong spells, you see the zero citation. So we can remove these two queries by clear history. Select these two, remove through the clear history. So we deleted these two one. So we have like 26,000 citations for proton pump inhibitors. And next thing is let's do proton pump PPI. Search. And now you can see different keywords from the Web of Science. So we can add these different PPI, proton pump inhibitor, network, PPI network. No, so you can search and you can go to advanced search and you see the different, we have different citations for proton pump inhibitors. And our second medication was dual antiplatelet therapy, dual anti. Search. So now we also have a different keyword. You can click here, clopidogrel, antiplatelet therapy, ticagrelor. We don't need percutaneous intervention. We already did. We don't need it. Prasugrel, you can add this medication to dual antiplatelet therapy. You can add different keywords as suggestion from Web of Science. Just search here, go back to advanced search, and you see the different citations for dual antiplatelet therapy. So dual antiplatelet therapy plus PPI is a single arm. We are in the intervention group as per PICO table. So we can connect all the keywords together to OR. So we connected PPI plus DAPT and we have 100,000 citations for PPI but DAPT. And we will do the same thing for our second term was upper GI bleed or gastrointestinal hemorrhage. So we can copy gastrointestinal hemorrhage, go back here, copy paste here, gastrointestinal hemorrhage search. So you can add different keywords, gastrointestinal hemorrhage, bleeding, hemorrhage, upper gastrointestinal, we need upper gastrointestinal bleeding, we need upper gastrointestinal hemorrhage, gastrointestinal tract hemorrhage. So we don't need lower gastrointestinal tract. So you can click here. It will add all the different citations related to gastrointestinal hemorrhage. So we have 32,000 citations. And because it's a gastrointestinal hemorrhage, we can also search upper GI bleed. Upper gastrointestinal bleeding. So you see the upper gastrointestinal bleeding, we have different keywords and we can connect. So we are on the same arm, single arm for upper GI bleed or gastrointestinal hemorrhage. So we'll connect with OR. So now we can connect all these three arms together. So this was our first arm, like 1, 2, 3, and this was our second arm, and this was our third arm. So we can connect these three arms together and combine with AND. So I explained earlier, when you are in the single arm, you have to connect with OR, but when you are connecting different arms, connect with AND. So we connected all these terms and we have 385 citations. So sometimes different people, they type like a randomized control trial here like a randomized control trial. I did initially, but sometimes journals and reviewers they criticize like you don't need to put restriction for randomized control trials. So that's why you need to make sure your search strategy is wide. So keep your search strategy as wide to include all the citations, and then later on you can remove observational studies and you can keep only randomized control trial as per your inclusion criteria. So we have 385 citations. You can click here. So these are 385 citations unrelated to our topic. So we can export, like select, export, and we can export to different software like EndNote, Covariance. We will explain later in next session how to download citations from databases to the softwares. And you need the search strategy, so we can just so there's you cannot, like in PubMed there was a way we can copy our whole search strategy, but in Web of Science you cannot just copy paste. So you can select all, like here, control copy, control C, and paste your. This was for PubMed, and now we have a search strategy for Web of Science. So this is your whole search strategy for Web of Science. You need to submit this whole search strategy as in your supplementary file when you will submit your full length paper. So we can remove these things. So we can make it clear. Okay. So next, this is Web of Science. And third database is, let me find out. Embase. It's taking too much time. Let's do quickly on Embase. So go to Embase. On Embase is the same thing. You need access for Embase databases, and you can get from your program. So if you don't have access, you can ask your senior resident or somebody who can help you to give you access for Embase. So go to advanced, because we are doing advanced search. So in advanced, so in Embase there are no mesh terms, so you only have to type keywords. So we will do the same thing like we did in Web of Science. So first thing was acute coronary syndrome. We will do the same thing, acute coronary syndrome. We will make this search strategy short, acute coronary syndrome. So you can select acute coronary syndrome and then search. So now we have one keyword, acute coronary syndrome, and we have a different citation, like 90,000 citations for acute coronary syndrome. Second thing, you can type percutaneous coronary intervention. You can just search. And now we have a different citations for ACS and PCI, so we can connect both. And then you see the combine. We can combine two keywords. So we connected two keywords single arm. So next thing is in PICO table, well, PPI, proton pump inhibitors. Proton pump. So you can see the proton pump inhibitor search. Now we have a key citations for PPI, and then dual antiplatelet therapy. Dual antiplatelet therapy, search here. So I'm doing it short, but you have to do it wide. So you have to type like aspirin, all the medication like aspirin, Plavix. You have to include all the medication included in that, and even you can widen your proton pump inhibitor keywords by adding omeprazole, pantoprazole, like different kind of PPI. So this is a single arm. We can connect single arm together. Same thing, and we will do same OR when you are in the single arm combined. And now we have a different citations for our 1 hour. So third was gastrointestinal hemorrhage, gastrointestinal hemorrhage search. These are the citations for GI hemorrhage. We can type upper gastrointestinal bleeding, upper gastrointestinal bleeding. So we can type upper GI bleed, and with upper GI bleed, gastrointestinal hemorrhage, you can connect those two keywords through OR because you're in the single arm combined. So now we will connect all these three arms together. Number 3, like we connected keywords, and then number 8, we connected, and number 11, we connected these keywords. So you see the combined, but this time we connecting three arms, we will use AND. So combine. Now we have 1800 citations for our whole question, like PPI plus that for upper GI bleed and patients with recent PCI. Same thing. So we will go back and you can 1805 citations, but you need such strategy so you can see this is our whole search strategy. So we can just copy our search strategy and we can go here, and then this was MBS database, so we can just copy. So this is our whole search strategy for MBS databases. So I usually do 4 databases. It's up to you. You can add 3. So it's wise to do as much as databases. So fourth one I usually do is Cochrane database for systematic reviews. Systematic reviews. So we can see here MBase. You can go to Google, search Cochrane database for systematic. Like Cochrane database or systematic review, go on website for Cochrane database. Okay, so you will see this main page, and we are looking for advanced search, not a basic search strategy. So you click here on advanced search, and you will see the same things. Search manager, medical terms, PICO search. So we need mesh terms. So you can click here on medical terms. So you can type our first term was acute coronary syndrome. So you can see it here, acute coronary syndrome. You can select and look up. We will click here on lookup, and it will find all the keywords and the mesh terms related to. So when you type any keywords, so databases will find all the citations which they included the keyword acute coronary syndrome. So we have all the citations on this database which they use the word acute coronary syndrome. So we can add this one to search manager. So we added to search manager, and we have a 33,000 citations for acute coronary syndrome. So in Cochrane databases, you have to type all the different keywords separately. It's the same thing. The next thing is percutaneous coronary intervention. Continue. You can add PCI. You can add ACS. And now in Cochrane databases, we have to connect all the different keywords together manually by the keyboard. So shift 3, like hash, like pound, type 1, connect with OR, like capital OR, because we are in the single arm, then shift plus, we need to find pound 2, and then OR, then 3, we have total 4. So you can make notes of this Cochrane. Cochrane is totally different. You have to type manually. You have to connect all the keywords together by typing like pound 1, connect with or pound 2, like pound 1, pound 2, pound 3, pound 4. We connected all 4 keywords together. You can click on continue. Now we have a citation for ACS and PCI. Our second thing was like we can type here, like we need to find mesh terms. and you can type here proton pump inhibitors, proton pump inhibitor. So Cochrane databases will find all the mesh terms for us. And you can see they have 1985 citations, randomized trials, Cochrane reviews. You can add and edit search lines. So we included everything in our search strategy. And then you can type differently like PPI, continue, Bento, Brazil. Okay. So next thing was dual antiplatelet therapy. We can type dual antiplatelet therapy. You can type DAPT. You can type aspirin. You can type clopidogrel. So now we can connect PPI and DAPT together. We are in the single arm. We'll do the same thing found. We started from 6. So we'll start from 6. Connect with the OR and then 7. It should be capital OR. 7 OR 8 OR 9 OR 13. So we have total 13. So we can connect. So we connected. We have a citation 30,000 for our PPI and DAPT. Next thing is go to mesh terms, find for gastrointestinal hemorrhage, So we have gastrointestinal hemorrhage. We'll look out for all our mesh terms keywords. You can add an added search line. You can type G, and bleed. You can type upper gastrointestinal bleeding. Search, continue, and then we can connect all our keywords together. It started from 15 or capital or 16 or 17. So you can so now we have a 3 arms and we have to connect 3 arms together. So it started with 5 and then 14 and then 18. So we will connect all together with the 5, and now we are connecting 3 different arms together, so we will use and 5, and the next one was 14 and next one was 18. So we can connect all together and then we can click on continue. So we have a total 57 citations for our whole search strategy for our whole question as per our PICO table. So we can click here to find out all our papers, like all citations. It will take time. So you can see that there are 16 Cochrane reviews, 0 protocols, there are 41 trials, 0 editorials, 0 special collections, 0 clinical answers. So we have total 57 studies and we can download all the select 16. We will show you in next session. So, but we need a search strategy. So you can go down, you can see here, print search strategy, click here, and it will download your search strategy. We will just copy paste your search strategy because we need this search strategy for our paper for publication. So if it, under the Cochrane review, you can just paste your whole search strategy. So this is search strategy from 4 different databases. And now I can show you what I did on this presentation. So PPI addition to dev. So you need to create a different keywords and mesh terms for different terms like PCI did only PCI. You can also add ACS and then PPI plus DAB dual antiplatelet therapy. Same thing, upper GI bleed, same thing. You can connect all the keywords and mesh terms together with the OR. And then next step is PubMed. This is a whole search strategy what we did. and included all the arms together, PCI, ACS, and PPI, DAPT, and upper GA bleed. And this was the same thing we did on Web of Science. You need to submit this way in your supplementary file for full length publication. So you can see it here. Like we started here from one proton pump inhibitor, we had 23,000 citations, and then we connected here, we connected all together, all the arms together, and we have 348 citations. Same thing with Embase. This is our search strategy for Embase. Where is Cogniz? So that's it. I think the whole session, this session for today was only about search strategy, how to make a PICO table, how to create your question, how to find out topic, and how to make search strategy, and how to do search on different databases. And you need a history of these search strategies because you need to submit for full length publication. So our goal for whole this session series is to make sure you can submit your paper in abstract in conference, and also you are able to write down full length publication to publish in good journals. Any questions?
I think there are quite a few question and question answer. I think maybe Usman can ask some questions, and like you guys can start from those question answer and can like start answering those.
Daddy, it's fine.
So first question, अपना YPC electives में help करती है undergraduates को? मुनीस भाई,
Sorry, what was the question? अपना YPC.
electives में help करती है undergraduates को?
I think let's we can concentrate the question only on meta analysis, and then we can figure out the question these questions later on. Maybe if we can just keep the questions to the like if you like the this like Anfal Arshad has a question.
Yes, you will be given access. So this was a question from anonymous attendee. Thank you for this session and your time so far. This session has been very initiative. Will we be taught all the exact steps required to be done after data extraction? Yes. So that's why we started from like first step. So I attended like a lot of workshop and I spent 2 years to learn about meta-analysis. And it takes so much time to submit, and you have to review. So our major focus is to make sure you are following all steps to publish in journals. The good thing is you can submit abstracts to conferences, but our initiative is to make sure you know all the steps to go further with publication in different journals. So can we please be given access to recording of these lectures? Yes, we will give you access for the मोहन भाई access देते हैं इसकी
Oh, about what?
recordings की?
Yes,
Can we?
it will be. Yeah, it will be like shared on YouTube.
Okay.
Daddy,
Next question from Anfal Arshad. Could you explain again what does TS signify in the search bar? So TS, this is only for Web of Science database. So I can show you. Go back here. So Embase. No, it was in Web of Science. So Web of Science. So make sure we are only checking for Web of Science core collection. You can go to advanced search and you can see it here. So there are different words you have to type. Otherwise, you cannot just search here on Web of Science. You need to type like TS for topic, TI for title. If you are searching for title, you can type TI and you can add your title to find out citations which are relevant to our topic. So I usually use TS. It's very easy. Let me give you example. So this is our query. You cannot just type. Let me see if we can type acute coronary syndrome. Like see, it shows error. When you type keyword without their title, like tag words, you cannot find any citation. That's why you need to add ts. So let's see it here. So when I add ts, search again, now you can find out all the citations relevant to our questions, like acute coronary syndrome. Next question from Anfal. Does that mean the people who don't have institutional access can't publish? They can publish, they can publish. You can take part and you can ask your seniors or residents or anybody who have access to different databases. They can help you with search strategy. But if you know somebody like statisticians in any institutional library, like librarian, and librarian can help you to make a search strategy for your paper. Ahmad Anwar, why aren't you including outcomes as the fourth arm? So fourth arm. So basic thing is, so when we did a wide search and we included all the patients with ACS and PCI. So any patients with PCI and ACS who are taking dual antiplatelet therapy plus PPI. So when we will find out, when next time when we will do the screening, you will find out, so they have explained the outcomes in their all papers. So this is duplication when we add like major cardiovascular event mortality. You can still add these different terms from outcomes in your search strategy, but when we will put all the citations in software, we need to remove duplicates. I will in next session we will show you how to remove duplicates in different softwares. I can add these outcomes in my search strategy, but it will add all the duplicate citations, so it will take more time. That's why I did not include the outcomes. We have a combined arm for PP and DAPT as intervention. Do we need to add a separate control arm for DAPT only? No, so we only need dual antiplatelet therapies. And so this search like a keyword dual antiplatelet therapy, it will add all the citations, all the papers, including observational studies, case report, case series, review articles, everything, all the paper. This is a very wide term like DAPT, dual antiplatelet therapy. This is a wide term. That's why we included DAPT, and it can include all the papers which they mentioned or they used DAPT in their patients. Thank you. Can we please receive this Google Doc file for our reference to practice on our own? Yeah, I can share this Google file. Could we use PubMed, Google Scholar, and Cochrane if we don't have institutional access for those in Pakistan? Yes, you can use PubMed, Google Scholar, Cochrane, but for big journals, like if you are if so these so you have to explain in your manuscript in abstract, but when you will do publication, when you will submit your paper for publications, it will limit or restrict your citations and paper. That's why you will miss few citations and it will create bias in your results or in certainty of evidence for meta-analysis. That's why there will be increased chances of rejection. That's why we have to include the major databases for our paper. Zanam Jamshed, how to ensure we don't miss out on some keywords? Any foolproof method? No, there's no foolproof method. We have to, you can use wide terms like dual antiplatelet therapy and PPI proton pump inhibitors. That's why I added a specific term. When you will open the citation and you will open this paper, you will see they use either omeprazole or pantoprazole or lansoprazole, and they don't use term like proton pump inhibitors. When we do search strategy, we have to do a wide search. That's why I included proton pump inhibitors. When we will type proton pump inhibitor in databases, they will include all the citations with all kind of proton pump inhibitor. And this is the right way to include all citations. Muhammad Zakaria, anonymous attendee, thank you for this session and your time so far. This session has been very well, we without all the exact steps required to none after that. Yes, I already answered this question. What are the some databases that can be used and do not require access other than PubMed? So good question, Usman. पता है उस्मान नहीं है, मुझे तो इतना आइडिया नहीं है, लेकिन we can find out. I don't know.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Question is, what are the some databases that can be used and do not require access other than PubMed?
I think um, Web of Science was free earlier, but I'm not sure these days. I think it is also like has
Need
institutional
access.
access.
Web
Yeah,
of Science
and
need access.
base Cochrane does so Cochrane. I think it lets you search free, but in order to explore library, you need the institutional access. But double check on that. Yeah, because Cochrane, you can make an account and then you can search your like everything with the PubMed just to see like how many trials and everything are there. But in order to like export the library, you will need an access.
Thank you for your time. It was indeed helpful. Will this series also teach meta-analysis during or Stata? Yes. So with this series, we will teach you different softwares. Like for CMA comprehensive meta-analysis software is only used for single arm. And for RAVMan, you can do comparative meta-analysis. You cannot do single arm analysis on RAVMan. That's why we use the CMA for single arm, or either we can use Stata. So we will teach in next session during our analysis session. We will teach you how to use different software tools like screening tools, EndNote, and EndNote, and Covidence, Zotero, RavMan, CMA, and Stata. Next question is, which studies can we include in meta-analysis? Also, can you please tell again what recent studies you said that recent studies cannot be included? So I did not mention recent studies cannot be included. So recent studies means this you can find recent studies on journal to find out a topic, like which is a new medication, which is a new intervention. So you can find out a topic related to new recent studies. For inclusion criteria, you can do meta-analysis, either a comprehensive meta-analysis, including observational studies and randomized control trial mean retrospective. So you can include retrospective study in a randomized control trial, and you can do meta-analysis only on observational studies, and you can do only on randomized control trial. Thank you for this session. It will be uploaded on APPNA YPC YouTube. I missed 15. Yes, it will be uploaded. Thank you. But Deep Kumar, sometimes meta-analysis topics do overlap with that other researcher doing same study in same period of time. How to deal with it? Yeah, it's a good question because meta-analysis you don't need IRB approval. So sometimes like it happened to me, my 5, 6 papers were wasted. Somebody else, I completed whole stuff and everything, and somebody else published like in few days. So it happens and it's normal. And it will happen in future too. So you need to be quick. You need to keep an eye on big journals to find out good topics for meta-analysis, and you have to be quick. Do we get certificate of attendance and also recording? Yes, you will need the recording of the session. Munis bhai?
No, I don't think that we will give any certificate.
Okay. No. Abdullah Rashid, do abstract also count as a publication? I mean, if article is not yet published in a journal. So yeah, if you are adding as a in your resume, suppose if you're adding this publication in your RAS CV, so when you will do complete your RAS CV, you can find out different parts like publications not peer reviewed, publication as a peer reviewed. So you can add your abstract if it's already published, accepted in conference. Any paper, any abstract was accepted for conference, they usually publish in their big journal, like main guideline journal. So this is a publication you can add in your RAS CV, but you have to make sure it's not a full-length publication, it's just an abstract. And second thing is, if you already submitted abstract to any conference, it's still you didn't get notification for acceptance, you can add as submitted. You cannot just add as a published. So you can add your study and you can mention submitted. There is an option for on ERAS. Mohammed Zikaria, how will we be notified for future lecture? Is it possible we can be emailed as well, Facebook post or very often upon which is also post like I have no idea, but the next session we will post on Facebook. Munis bhai?
Yeah, hopefully in the second like half of July. Yeah, we will make a flyer and post on the Facebook.
Thank you. So hey Lama, thanks for your effort. Very useful session for us. PubMed need no subscription, but other databases, yes, other databases need access through the institution. Anonymous Stanley, what if we don't have access to different databases and we only publish our paper based on PubMed? No, you cannot PubMed. You cannot just include one database. So it will compromise the quality of the paper and it will create bias in your results. Essence of the thank you for this very informative session was great. Which major journals should we follow for recent RCTs to get an idea of a topic? And are there any other tips we can use to find idea for? Yeah, it's a good question, Essence. So it's up to you. Like if you are following GI, you can go to GI journals. Like there are big GI journals like American Journal of Gastroenterology, Gastrointestinal Endoscopy, and then digestive disease, endoscopy, digestive endoscopy. There are major big GI journals, but I'm not sure about the cardiology stuff. So there will be different similar journals in cardiology. You can go there, you can go to the journal's website and you can see the recent studies, recent new inventions, new medications in different diseases, and you can find out the topic. Ahmad, is there a step-by-step document available to follow these steps? What are the most common deficient observations?
Amir, I want to add to this
Sure,
question, if you don't mind.
sure, sure.
So, in order to like find any topic, the best way, for example, I think most of you guys are doing like preparation for step two exam or step one. So usually, like all the UWorld question, they are based on the current evidence. There's always a link at the bottom for the reference and everything. So what I would like, when I was learning everything, I would search if I'm learning about any new drug or anything, for example, any recommendation, any guideline. I would just go to the website. I would see like what is the current evidence. For example, recently they do not recommend clopidogrel. They're recommending other drugs, ticagrelor and other drugs. So this is a new guideline recommendation. But this guideline recommendation is usually based on recent studies and everything. So whenever you hear these whenever you read, and especially in the era of like X and other platforms, always look like there are new trials, there's new conferences every time they publish studies, everything. So if you want to, for example, you do want to research for both for your match and for both for like your academia. So what I would do is like just go just follow these new conferences and everything and follow the trials they announce, and then see like if there's any evidence, any meta-analysis or anything done on that. So it's easier in that. Then once you get kind of understanding, then you will kind of be more comfortable finding a new topic, for example, in everything you read. So but just to like always watch for these things, because everything you read or study in medicine is usually evidence based. So there's always data to support it. So whenever you have like, for example, it says for example, anything that says the evidence in to support this is uncertain, that means there lies your research question. So you can always go ahead and see like why this is not being studied, and that is if you publish in that domain, that's going to get accepted to the most journal, because that brings novelty to the topic and everything.
Perfect. Thank you, Sma. Next question is, Aisha, do we need to have a mentor to do a meta-analysis, and how, if yes, how APPNA can help us with it? So it's not mandatory, but you need help from your seniors or who has expertise in meta-analysis or who are in the study. Suppose you're publishing with GI, you need, if you are a medical student, if you are a resident, you're not familiar with different terminology, different clinical scenarios. So you need somebody to help you and guide you. So suppose you find out of one medication, one intervention, or one study, and you want to do meta-analysis, but you are not sure if there is any previous meta-analysis or if there is any significant to do this meta-analysis again, to update this meta-analysis. But if there is any obvious evidence on the same medicine, so intervention, so that's why you need help from your mentors or senior. How APNA can help us with it? Monis bhai?
Sorry, to finding the mentor.
Yes, for
Yeah, I think
publication.
there's not a lot that we can help with finding the mentor. It's just like by word of mouth.
Anonymous, I'm a beginner in search. Please, can you tell me where to start? So start with this session. So you can join this session and you can start from here. So need to find out the topic, search strategy, and then we will follow all the steps. So if you are totally beginner, you don't know anything, you can just follow these lectures. Mariam Ali, amazing session. I've been learning Meta on my own for a long time. You explain everything so well. Thank you so much to the whole team for arranging this. Thank you. If I'm like, but if we don't have a subscription to access database, I'm like, blah, blah, blah. So we already explained this answer. Very informative. And looking forward to the next person and job on my response. Thank you very much, Monas. Thank you. Very nice. Well, which studies can we include in mental health? Also, can you please tell again which research studies you said? So I did not mention about recent study. I already answered this question. So we can do meta-analysis on observational studies, and we can do separate meta-analysis on randomized controlled trial. And you can do single meta-analysis, including observational studies and randomized controlled trial. And observational studies include uh, case series, retrospective studies, and prospective studies. Abdullah Rashid, can we depend on AI for making search string? No. So I think you cannot. You have either if you want to use AI, you have to explain to the journal during your submission. So I'm not familiar with this thing. Usman, do you have any idea? Usman is not. So I have no idea about AI. So
No, like, sorry, what was the question? I was sorry,
can we
a little.
depend on AI for making search string?
Yes, I think so. The use of AI in your manuscript, depending upon like how much, usually it is for the writing, but I think it's a good tool, especially with Gemini and everything. What you can do is ask, oh, this is, but you need to have like a basic understanding of what are you throwing at the AI. For example, you can ask like, that this is my research question, and then it will give you the quality of the answer. It can vary, but that can give you an initial understanding that what you're going to look for in the database. So and definitely if you want to just mention in your when you're submitting that, oh, like I use this, then that's fine. But usually they are more curious about if you have used AI for the writing part of it. But anyways, you can like even use ChatGPT and other like AI agents for even browsing through ideas and everything. Like, for example, if there's any current evidence on anything, so you can definitely use that.
Perfect. Thank you, Usman. Okay, how many databases should we one at least search? So I think four, at least four. I usually do four. Usman, do you have any recommendation? Like how many databases should one at least search?
Depending upon the four main, like you mentioned, usually like they are the. So the thing is, it's not like a certain number or anything like that. Or like you need to follow this. Usually, you need to make sure, like if for example, if there's a new study and everything, then you have to make your comprehensive research. Like if you are updating a meta-analysis, usually. What I would do, I would go through their methods. I would see like what databases they used, and then I will just like make sure like my research is comprehensive. So it's not like a recommendation to how many, because the major ones, PubMed, Embase, Cochrane, Web of Science, and clinical trial. I think someone mentioned you can definitely use everything, but I think the major trials you are reporting, especially the observational studies and everything, so they're mostly available on all the 4 to 5 databases. So I think you will be good with all this. Just like mentioned in your methodology that you used all the major databases. And if you have a previous meta-analysis, everything on this topic, just like follow their methodology. And if you have a new study from another database, just mention that.
Perfect. Thank you, Usman. Thank you. Next question, what is the difference between OR and AR? So these are the different terms I explained during search strategy. When you're connecting single arm different keywords meshed together, you have to use OR, and then if you're connecting different arms together, then you have to use AND. This is the different terms used by different databases. So how can we effectively choose a PICO question? So I will really explain. You need to find out a good topic. You can search on different websites, different journals, different databases. And Usman have also explained by finding a good question, then you can make your PICO table. So why you want to do this meta-analysis? Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anonymous research. Being a researcher, don't have any team monitor. Can you please help me with this issue? Yes, I can help. You can reach out to me. Can you submit your paper to multiple journals, hoping anyone will accept it? Do we have to submit to one first? Yeah, you have to submit to one journal first. So when you will submit, you will see the different policies from different journals. So it should not be submitted to any other journal. Thank you, Smart Dot Ahmed. Thank you. How to find a mentor for Meta? Your seniors are not helpful. Like they are not helping at all. So you can just find a topic, start doing by yourself, and then you can reach out to us. I think if you're not able to find anybody, you can reach out to us. Can you give a brief insight about what is an editorial and how to write note? Yeah, so we will explain later about editorial, and this whole session is about meta-analysis. Mara Kashmi, is it a good practice to replicate results of already done meta-analysis? No, you cannot just. So journals, they don't accept meta-analysis for replicate results. The good journal, when you will submit, they will find out there's a lot of evidence already available on this topic or this intervention or this medication. So I have been working to cite our meta-analysis for months, but unable to do till now. So I have started replicating results of it. Yeah. So when you will replicate, you have to find out first, like, do you still need a meta-analysis for this topic or not? If there is a new intervention, new innovation, new medication, and there is no meta-analysis, that's a really good topic. So you have to stay up to date with your new medications. If you're a student, it's tough because you don't know anything about cardiology, big term new medications, because you're not in the practice, you're a student. So that's why you need to connect with the residents or mentors so you can find out different topics. Thank you so much for this informative session. Looking forward to next one. Perfect. Monas bhai, sab ho gaya answer.
I think that thank you for everyone. I think we can wrap it up here, and then definitely you guys like can tell us like what the next date would be, and then we can put it on the Facebook and we can go from there. Thank you to both of you.
So next session will be by Osman, I think, whenever he has time. So
Yes.
next session, sorry.
Yeah, mostly it will be in like after 16th of July. I'm applying for cardiology fellowship, so I think we will coordinate with the APPNA YPC team to give a definitive timeline and everything. So my focus will be like Amber did an introductory session, so I will carry forward with all the other questions and all the methodology to it. The second thing I want to do is like do the real world analysis. Like there's different databases out there, Tritex and different. So just to make sure if you have access or someone in your team has an access, how to do a real world analysis and everything, outcome research. So I will focus on that. But if you can always send a text to APNA, anything you want me to focus on. That would be always good to, because that I will make sure like I address that during my session as well. So reach out to the APNA like moderators, Monas Bhai and everyone. So if you have anything you need me to focus on, I will take care of that.
Thank you everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.